Hi, I'm Kristen Oakes-White.
And I'm Avery Davidson. Thank you for joining us for This Week in Louisiana Agriculture, the only TV show bringing Louisiana farmers and consumers together every week. And as you can see, things have changed just a little bit. After more than 40 years of producing this show from the Louisiana Farm Bureau offices on Airline Highway, we have a new home. So we're excited to be unveiling the new set, the new graphics, and I'm excited to have you back by my side, Kristen. It's been so long.
I'm excited to be back, and there's been so much change here and in our personal lives. It's happened in such a short amount of time, but we're going to share more about the studio and all the life changes that have been happening later on in the show. Well, if you've ever traveled through some of the farm communities across our state, you've probably seen some unassuming barns that store hay, livestock, or equipment.
Now, those barns can also play a part in raising money for a good cause. TWILA's Karl Wiggers takes us to Abbeville for the Vermillion Parish Farm Bureau's annual party at the Red Barn.
Well before folks began to file into the doors of the Red Barn, these young farmers and ranchers have been hard at work cooking up tonight's dinner. And it's a large crowd they're cooking for. This barn is packed for the 4th annual Party at the Red Barn in Vermillion Parish. Amanda Douillon is the fundraising chair for this year's event. And she says this event is much more than just a party.
To me, what we're doing is we're advocating for agriculture. We're getting the community involved in an event to show them what we're doing here as YF&R members. We're getting our name out there. We're raising money for scholarships to get more kids interested in agriculture.
Vermillion Parish Farm Bureau President Brian Simon says this party makes him extremely proud of the young farmers in his parish. Not only for the awareness it brings to the Young Farmers and Ranchers program, but for the numerous scholarships this event helps fund.
It's just very important to be able to fund these scholarships because a lot of the young farm families just can't afford college tuition and stuff. Is getting very expensive, and these tuitions help these guys and girls to be able to go to college and come back and work in the agricultural industry.
For people to come out and have a good time, you know, is what our goal is. Not so much the money. Yeah, the money is nice to help, you know, the future farmers and businessmen of Vermillion Parish, but it's to have a good time and all of us to be together.
That time together is what Louisiana Farm Bureau President Jim Harper says makes this YF&R group so special. And this community is a great place to come for a great party.
You come over here, you'll get some of the best food in the state of Louisiana. They cook for it, and the people are really friendly. This is a close-knit town, and we're just proud to be here.
Harper says involvement in the Young Farmers and Ranchers program is vital to the future of Louisiana Farm Bureau.
Having a good young farmer and ranchers committee is very important. It exposes these young producers to a lot of the things that we work on every year. They understand the issues and why they're so important to them and how it affects the bottom line on their farm. So it's very important to get these young farmers and ranchers involved at an early age.
More than 400 folks filled the barn at this year's event and raised close to $45,000. Now, if you have a little FOMO and you're sad you missed the party at the Red Barn, it's happening again, no worries. You can mark your calendars right now, February 3rd, 2024 in Abbeville, Louisiana. And you guys, Avery, I know you've been, this is my 3rd or 4th time to go to the party, it feels like. And every year it's kind of picked up steam, but this year they added the live band. Game changer. It was awesome. They actually had a guy come up and sing in French Tennessee whiskey, which I'd never heard it that way before. It was very unique. It was a very South Louisiana experience.
I was going to say, they know how to have fun in Vermillion Parish.
They for sure do.
But it's for some good causes, too.
Absolutely. Yeah, they raise money for 3 real, kind of 4 buckets that all this money goes to, and it's for the Louisiana Farm Bureau Foundation for the state scholarship, for their parish scholarship, which they actually just turned to a 4-year scholarship for students going to college in their parish. They're going into ag business or ag-related degrees, which is a really cool thing. And it also goes to ag leadership, ag in the classroom.
Okay, yeah, Louisiana Ag in the Classroom program.
And also it goes to fund their local YF&R, this vibrant YF&R in Vermillion Parish. So helps them put on events like this in the future and bring more into the fold, which is really cool to see.
Well, it's a great event. Thank you so much for bringing us the coverage of it, Karl Wiggers.
Well, Vermillion Parish is not just a place for people to come and pass a good time. You'll find agriculture unique to Louisiana in the parish.
That's why the New Jersey Agriculture Leadership Development class traveled there. During a 5-day trip to Louisiana, the class traversed South Louisiana to visit places like Supreme Rice, Oak Alley, the Port of New Orleans, and even went on a swamp tour. The class spent 2 days in Vermillion Parish learning about sugarcane production. the alligator industry, and crawfish from catching to peeling them. Class member Justine Gray says Louisiana agriculture has been amazing to see and taste.
This has been really eye-opening. The agriculture that you guys do around here is far different than what we do in New Jersey, but the community has been like amazing. I have tried to have catfish or crawfish in every single meal that I've had, and I've been pretty successful. So between those two have been absolutely amazing. I will have crawfish etouffee as many times as humanly possible while I'm here.
Well, as most of you saw last week, a couple of members of the TWILA team were out of the country in a tropical paradise.
Who would you be talking about there?
I have no idea.
I assure you it was a lot of work, just warmer, as we shot lots of video in Panama and Costa Rica. So much that we could not fit it all into one show. A highlight for TWILA's Neil Melanson was a visit to a pineapple farm in Costa Rica, where he learned by tasting that pineapple is a pretty sweet business.
You might not know this field, but you probably have had a pineapple from here. This is the organic pineapple paradise farm run by Sogo Farms. It's near the town of Sarapiqui in Costa Rica, which is the largest exporter of pineapples in the world. This one farm on this 300-acre plot produces more than 6.5 million pineapples each year.
We are not shipping pineapple directly. We are giving the pineapple to a shipping company, and they will be in charge of freight costs, marketing, and distribution in the destination country.
Danny is guiding this LSU Ag Leadership class through a tour with emphasis on how they manage to stay organic in this hot, wet, and insect-filled climate. He says they get between 20 and 35% of their pineapples rejected each year.
We are producing over 6 million pineapples a year. Only 4 million is for shipping. The rest are rejected for local industry, pineapple juice, a marmalade factory, local market.
Still, the pineapples that do go through make for sweet taking. The class got a taste, and as you can see, it's out of this world.
It's pretty good.
At the conclusion of the tour, the class was greeted with pina coladas, dried pineapple, and a pineapple spread that was just as sweet. These products are all made from the pineapples that are too damaged for export.
That pineapple, quality pineapple is looking. It's not flavor or shell color. All those pineapple with the crown bent over, insects, animals bite, bad formation, those pineapples are rejected. It's the pineapple that we keep for local market and juice companies and other process in the farm. It's necessary take some samples in the field, cut it, and measure the sugar with refractometers to see if the pineapple has more than 13 bricks, the perfect sugar content to consider it ripe. Under 13 bricks is not ripe, it's unripe. And more than 15, the shelf life of the pineapple is very, very short. Because after pick the pineapple never ripen. It starts getting fermenting right away.
Now, anyone can go on that same tour of that pineapple farm the Ag Leadership class went to if you're ever in Costa Rica. They also have a peppercorn farm there where you can see the plants and even eat one of those peppercorns right off the tree. I'll warn you, they're much spicier than regular black pepper. We'll link you over to our website at twilatv.org. And guys, of course, I brought a pineapple because I think this is what everybody's been wanting. You want to know what I brought you? This is actually an organic one from Costa Rica. And I'll tell you how they told us to pick them. And I know you kind of already know that. For one, you can see I'm holding this by the stem here. And that's, most people try and pick a leaf out the top to see whether it's ripe or not. But the real way is to hold it there. And you can see, even by one of these little leaves, they hold right there on the pineapple. As you heard from the story, they're very delicate. You know, they only begin to fruit when they're stressed out or something like that to propagate. And so they're also very delicate when you handle them. So what happens, number one, as soon as you cut the pineapple, they're not ripening anymore. They're not bananas. They do not ripen. If they turn yellow, it's because they've had chemical alterations or they've already reached that yellowing stage there. You can see this one at the very bottom had already started to turn yellow, but it is not ripening. No pineapple will once they do. The other thing is that they're very easy to bruise. So what happens at most grocery store is people pick them up and they squeeze them and they set them down very hard. And when 40 or 50 people do that at a grocery store, they finally start to split. Because even though this is one pineapple, each one of these squares is a different fruit. And so they're segmented like that. And so they'll break apart. And when they do, what happens? When you smell it, it smells like a pineapple. This doesn't smell that.
No, it's still kind of much up.
Yeah.
Well, no, I know this because I did the pineapple story in
Hawaii.
Yep.
And after 11 years, I think that I can finally eat pineapple again because I ate so much
Right.
in the field.
Right. Well, in fact, I brought some. As you can see,
made me
this
very
is, so you can try this. This is a green
All right. I'll
green
take that one
pineapple.
right there.
Oh, yeah.
Tastes pretty fresh. So,
Well,
and now, of course, nothing will beat that freshness right off the plant in Costa Rica, but it's pretty close. And as you heard in the story, they are the largest exporters of pineapple in the world for a good reason. It's very fresh, very good tasting, sweet pineapple.
See,
Yeah.
I don't have any limits because I just ate 3 pieces.
Yeah. I mean, I just went with my third as well. Pretty
Well,
darn good there,
Glad
Neil.
you guys could enjoy and hope you can pick a better pineapple there at home.
Thank
Well,
you for bringing us something.
We
You're welcome.
appreciate that.
Finally.
Thank you very much, Neil Malasaw.
Well, pineapples are tasty, but
they
in
are.
Costa Rica, rice is what you'll find at almost every meal. In fact, each Costa Rican eats about 125 pounds of rice each year.
Yeah, that's quite a bit when you consider the average American eats about 25 pounds of rice a year. Despite that high consumption in Costa Rica, there's little chance of the country becoming a major market for Louisiana-grown rice.
The wind steadily blows over this field of rice in Costa Rica. The rippling waves serve as a metaphor for the waves going through Costa Rica's rice industry. It's while visiting with rice farmers and millers that Madison Parish rice farmer and LSU Ag Leadership Class 17 member Cole Norris learns that in the last 10 years, Costa Rica has gone from more than 1,000 rice farmers to just more than 300.
They're dealing with some of the same challenges the producers are in the U.S. You know, the high fertilized cost, high cost of labor. They've also got a unique deal where tariffs a few years ago were at 35%, so it kept their jobs secure here in producing rice in Costa Rica. They've now lowered that to 3.5, which is causing some rice to come in from South America.
Mariano Madriz, a quality control engineer at Interglow Rice Mill, confirms what Norris just said, pointing out that 81% of all rice consumed in Costa Rica is imported.
For us, it's cheaper to buy the rice from the outside than the local producer. So probably the local producer is going to disappear in the next 2 years, probably.
That might seem like an opportunity for Louisiana rice farmers to find a new market. However, Madriz says Costa Rican consumers do not like the rice varieties grown in the United States.
The rice in the United States, the biggest problem for us is a rice that goes sticky every time you cook it. And in Costa Rica, we like the rice go loose every time we cook it. So for us, this is the biggest problem. Definitely is the biggest problem. Even if you have chalk or damage, or the whole grain is not too good, the first thing we look in the rice is the looseness of the.
I've always heard that Central Americans want a loose rice, as loose as anywhere in the world. But to see them, I mean, that's the first thing out of their mouth every rice stop we've had. So, but the problem is for us in the U.S., those varieties don't yield competitively, and that goes back to all those pieces of cost of production. You've got to maximize your yield, and for us right now, that just doesn't involve the characteristics that Central America is looking for.
Andy Brown works with Louisiana rice farmers in his role at Louisiana Farm Bureau. After these visits, he does not believe that U.S. rice can be priced competitively against countries like Brazil, Argentina, and Uruguay.
I think a lot of our farmers think if we could grow more of those varieties, that they'd be willing to pay a premium here for, you know, the taste profile that they want. When you have a competitor that you can get it much cheaper from, I don't really know that we'll be successful in that. So until we address, maybe through policy and the things that I do or other avenues to lower that cost of production, it's going to be really hard to be competitive in this market, even if we have higher yielding varieties with those Central American taste profiles.
As for Madriz, he visited Supreme Rice in Crowley 4 times and developed a taste profile for something uniquely Louisiana.
Crawfish. Definitely, I love crawfish. Yeah, I love it. It's very nice. The people is so cool too. Yeah, but the food, I definitely love Creole food. I love it.
Obviously, growing crops in a tropical environment takes special research. In the coming weeks, we'll bring you the story of Katia, an organization that focuses on agricultural research and extension in Central America and the Caribbean.
Well, a series of 3 grain bin safety and rescue training workshops are coming up in Louisiana. Each one is designed to train fire and rescue personnel in case someone is trapped inside a grain bin. A meal will be served from 5:30 to 6, with the program going from 6 to 8:30 p.m. The training is free, but you do have to register.
The first one is Tuesday, February 28th at Brister Auctions in Colfax, sponsored by the Grant and Rapides Parish Farm Bureaus, as well as Consolidated Grain and Barge.
The second will be Wednesday, March 1st at the Natchitoches Fairgrounds, sponsored by the Natchitoches Farm Bureau.
The third one will be at Lynn Farms at the Commissary Building in Belcher, sponsored by the Caddo Parish Farm Bureau.
We'll have the full list plus registration information on our website at twilatv.org. Louisiana Farm Bureau Safety Coordinator Wendell Miley says the workshops are put on as a joint effort between the Louisiana and Mississippi Farm Bureaus to help save lives.
Well, still to come on TWILA, it's good to be the queen, especially when you get to go coast to coast representing Louisiana farmers and ranchers.
But first, we check in with some Louisiana ranchers at Cattlecon in New Orleans. Stay with us. Last week, thousands of people from the cattle industry visited New Orleans for the National Cattlemen's Beef Association convention.
The convention included tours around the state of Louisiana highlighting Louisiana ranchers, a huge trade show, meetings, and more. Tammy Arender was there and caught up with some locals taking in Cattlecon.
You know, it's always fascinating to see the diversity of the people who come to the NCBA convention. People are here from all over the world. Several foreign countries are represented, and there's nearly 8 acres of trade show floor space. So between the trade show and these industry-leading speakers and demonstrations, it's no wonder that this is a hugely popular event. But I got a chance to visit with some local producers, some from the Bayou State, Amelia Kent and Brandon Du Bois. Talk about your biggest takeaway after these 3 days here. What do you hope to go back home with?
You know, I'm going to go back to the networking. Because I'm a people's person. I'm going to go meet people that I don't know. But in those conversations, you know, whether it's over supper or just standing around talking, you learn a lot of information. Whether it's the next upcoming technology that's used on the farm or you know, what have you, you know, you learn a lot through that process.
So it's so fun and invigorating for me to see friends from afar and nationwide that I don't get to see very regularly and may or may not stay in contact with other than bumping into sporadically. But really have those conversations about what we're doing and similarities, because really as livestock producers we all have a lot of intrinsic similarities, with the main differences being more geographical than anything else. Some people have lesser land availability and smaller scale, and some people have the vast expanse of the West. But at the end of the day, we're facing the same challenges and the same market cycles, and really a lot of the same policy challenges too.
What are some of the biggest challenges you're facing right now?
Right now is mud. I am so tired. I am so tired of mud, and our winter is mild compared to those further north of us. But about 2 weeks ago, I hit my threshold on being tired of winter and mud. And really, otherwise, challenges are input costs.
Well, Amelia, we sure do hope that you get to dry out very soon and don't have the cows playing in the mud anymore. In New Orleans at the NCBA convention, I'm Tammy Arender. Back to you.
Thanks, Tammy. Amelia Kent, who you just saw, hosted a tour group from the National Block and Bridle Convention organized by LSU in Baton Rouge. The group traveled to Kent's farm north of Clinton, where they got to experience the cold, wet weather firsthand. The group did stay under the cover of a barn because of the wet weather, but we know it was still a great opportunity for the Block and Bridle group to learn about Kent's experience on her farm.
If you would like to find out more about Block and Bridle or the convention, you can graze on over to our website to find out more. Well, we are in the early months of the year, which means it is crawfish season. We're going to be bringing you crawfish prices from around the state every week here on TWILA.
As we head to break, take a look at these crawfish prices brought to you by the Louisiana Crawfish Promotion and Research Board, which always reminds you to ask before you eat. It's February in Louisiana, and there are a few things you can count on. King cake is plentiful right now, which is not good for our diets on some levels, but you know what?
No, it's not.
Karl Wiggers brought this one here. He's learned from the lessons and mistakes of the past and make sure that we're all taken care of.
Well, I'm not going to let it go to waste.
I'm not either. Crawfish traps are filling up. Farmers are getting ready to plant a new crop, eating lots of king cake while they do it, and Louisiana Farm Bureau Federation's annual convention is starting to creep into the picture.
And it's hard to believe, but deadlines for certain contests are quickly approaching, and some have already passed. If you're a young farmer and rancher, farm woman, someone working in agriculture in the agriculture industry, under the age of 35, the time is now to sign up for those yearly contests. These contests highlight the best of the best in our state, and the prizes reflect that, ranging from a trip to the next American Farm Bureau convention in Salt Lake City, Utah, to equipment rental credits to thousands of dollars in cash prizes.
Definitely worth your time. The YFNR Achievement Award, Excellence in Agriculture Award, and Outstanding Young Farm Woman applications must be turned in by March 1st. Only a few weeks left. You can find out details, including the application forms, on our website at twilatv.org. This week's TWILA Boost is a special one, or should we say a royal one?
A very royal one. As a representative of the state's largest general farm organization, the Louisiana Farm Bureau Federation Queen spends her year representing the Federation and agriculture industry throughout the entire state at various festivals and events. But this year's Queen, Allison Powell, has gotten a few opportunities to travel beyond those state lines.
Allison rang in the new year in Pasadena, California for the Rose Bowl Parade. She was one of 21 Louisiana Festival Queens asked to ride on the Louisiana Feed Your Soul float presented by Lieutenant Governor Billy Nungesser and Louisiana Travel. And if that wasn't cool enough on its own, Allison got to meet and ride alongside Louisiana's own Country Music Award-winning singer, Lainey Wilson.
A month later, Allison repacked her bags and crown and embarked on another queenly adventure. But this time she was headed to Washington, D.C. for the annual Washington Mardi Gras celebration. This long-standing tradition started by homesick Louisianans eager to introduce fellow Washingtonians to their favorite holiday. It's evolved into a 5-day celebration of Louisiana's culture and people.
To see more pictures and videos or to keep up with Allison's travels as Louisiana Farm Bureau Queen, be sure to like the Louisiana Farm Bureau Federation Queen page on Facebook. And this was the point in the show where we were supposed to bring out little Prince Teddy to join us, but apparently Daddy's doing such a great job in your office, he fell asleep.
Well, that's one thing that I've learned about this parenthood thing 6 months in, is that you can't predict anything that he's going to do. And maybe we'll have to bring him back every day since he's sleeping here, because he won't sleep at home.
The Louisiana Farm Bureau offices are filled with babysitters. We're all prepared to, make Teddy feel comfortable, I promise.
I will take you up on that, every one of them here. Well, that does it for this edition of TWILA. Be sure to join us next week when we get kicked off this new set. That's because the FFA state officers are going to be doing our jobs and showing you all the great things their organization is doing in Louisiana.
But before we go, I want to thank a few people who made this new set possible. First, Philip Yonfa at iDesign and Greg Morrow for designing and building and making this set that was just on paper for a while and on computer screens become a reality, and it's even more gorgeous in person. Ronnie Jordan, Sam Paris, Cade and Cesar at True Blue for the LED wall behind us, the lights, the cameras, just so that you can see us. And then the new open and graphics are courtesy of Digital FX. Greg Milnick and Matt Dosecki worked really hard to make all of this look so good. I'm giddy as I'm up here on this set. I know it's probably sad.
It looks great. But remember that you can watch all of our stories online at twilatv.org, and be sure to like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. And you can find all of these stories and more on our YouTube channel. Be sure to subscribe to us and turn on the notifications so you know exactly when we put out new content.
New content like this set. For all of us here at TWILA, thank you for joining us. We hope to see you again right here next week.